All right, it's Tuesday, March 3rd. Had a super surreal thing happen yesterday. Well, I want to share this with you guys because this is in the world of AI and the world of things that are going on. Stick with me just for a minute because it actually has to do with a real human being and probably a life-saving measure that occurred last night. So I have a peer of mine that received an email yesterday around 1700 from an outside entity, a company. Now, there was a name attached to it, but basically the email was, you're listed as the emergency contact for such and such person. They didn't show up for work, multiple meetings today. We've been calling, no answers, text, no response. Can you please help us? He sent it to me. He said, what do you think? It says, this feels like spam or scam, somebody's making up a story. And I said, yeah, it reads that way. And he said, well, I don't think I'm going to respond to it because it said, please call this number listed below. And it's one of those things that once you do it, they've got your information kind of deal. And I understood his hesitation, and I too would have had the same thing the way it read. Last night, right around 2200, I go upstairs, and by the way, I don't check my emails all the time. So if you're one of those people that email me and Mike is not getting back, well, I check them twice a day typically. Once in the morning and once at night. Rarely throughout the day. I just happened to pick up my phone because I was looking for something from somebody, and there was a second email from my peer, but now it's from another person in the same company saying, plea for help. We can't get in touch with X. They've listed this person's name. I don't know who this person is. Never heard of him. But again, my peer was listed as the emergency contact. He says, I don't know who this person is. But the way this email was written was very different. And I said, all right, let me see what I can do with it. So just after 2200 last night, I start doing some reverse engineering. I get a number for this guy and I give him a call. And ironically, he answers the phone, but he doesn't talk. But all my spidey senses went off and said, something's not right here. And I sat on the phone, by the way, 33 minutes and 12 seconds before he finally hung up, and he uttered all of 3 sentences to me. I shouldn't say, it weren't even sentences. It was a sentence he muttered, and then a handful of 3 or 4 words that he threw together that sounded like he was off his meds or some type of mental health issue. That was the best I could discern. Very hard to hear him. And he was on a speakerphone. So I knew it was ambulatory. I could hear him moving around, but something just, again, fell off. Took my second line, got a hold of the PD, and essentially kind of patched him in and said, hey, here's what's going on. I'm getting this thing kind of third, fourth hand. But something's off with it. They go over to do a welfare check, no answer. But the guy's still on the phone with me, and he stays on the phone. So we were able to, between what I was doing and what they were doing, we were able to essentially triangulate where he was at. And they said that we think we have him, we'll be in contact. And essentially my phone call with the PD ended, and then the guy hung up on me after 33 minutes. 2 things I learned from this last night, and I don't know if this is anything new, but it's certainly something new that I experienced, and that is, there's a lot of scammers out there that do this kind of thing, that want to get you and grab your information. And AI is making it harder and harder to discern fact and fiction. And at the end of the day, I can tell you I had a legitimate conversation that was a non-conversation, no words uttered, but it said everything that it needed to say. And I'm so glad that the guy stayed on the phone with me, quite frankly, because if he was truly what I think he is, and that was something in the degree of suicidal ideations or thought processes that are going on in his nugget, then I'm grateful that he stayed on the phone because we were able to source him and find him. I got a phone call from his employer this morning at 6:15 that had talked to the PD this morning, and apparently they said he was in custody. Now, custody could mean crime, or custody could mean that he's on a mental health hold. I don't know. But going the extra mile for somebody, sitting on the phone for 30 minutes with somebody who's not talking to you, but you just know something's not right, I don't regret a second of it. I'm grateful for whatever the reason was that he had my peer listed as the emergency contact. Man, maybe that emergency happened last night. There's no way for me to quantify that yet. Maybe I'll learn more as time goes on. But I just thought I would share that because it it was very surreal. One, I blew off the first email. The second one I got, I thought it just read differently, and I said something's not right here. And after the phone call, clearly knew something wasn't right. So if you're going through stuff and you need help, reach out to somebody. Last night, I'm grateful that I had enough experience with this type of thing to be able to figure out how to link stuff together and get numbers and then triangulate and do all the things. I've done this in recovery in the past, but I've never done it with a stranger on the phone in the manner that went down last night, which is what makes it very unique and surreal. So, but I'm glad I was able to be there for somebody that I didn't know, and glad that my buddy sent me the email because he didn't know what to do, and hopefully this man is getting the help that he needs. So be discerning when you get this kind of stuff. Flesh it out with somebody else, see if it's real. In this particular case, it was very real, and I'm glad we were there. Peace out. More to come.